And welcome back to Coach's Corner. After speaking with the Dillons in the band, we're talking with Coach Morillon. And Coach Morillon in charge of the cross-country teams here in Artesia. And Coach, this is your what year?
This is my 10th year in charge.
Wow.
11th year total.
You're not that old.
No, I don't feel old, but the years are coming.
There you go. Well, Coach, we know that you have been in cross-country yourself, and before, as we were talking a long time ago, you were a pretty good runner yourself, and you set a few records and broke some, didn't you?
Well, Coach, that's a long time ago, and I try to stay away from the past. But I do, a lot of good things. I was very fortunate with running, needless to say, very fortunate.
What I'm trying to say is you were well qualified for what you're doing, and you went on to Lubbock Christian University and ran over there?
Yes, sir, and I'll tell you what, I had the best coaches an athlete could possibly ask for, and I think that's what's helped me be where I'm at and be what I am today and carry myself the way I carry myself. You know, my collegiate coaches, they're the epitome of what a coach should be like, in my opinion. And like I said, I'm a very fortunate person with running. I dealt with a lot of very fortunate people, and especially in the coaching field.
Well, I know that all helps carry over into your own program, and you can base your principles and thoughts on how it should be done on what you learned from them.
Yes, sir.
And you've been doing this for 10 years, and I know you've increased your membership on the team almost every year, haven't you?
Yes, sir, and actually the last 2 years, last year we got up to 45, which was the first time we'd gotten over 40, and I thought it was probably a few kids too many, and we never want to push kids away, of course,
sure.
But you know, we had 6 kids that did not return from that group last year, and yet we're back at 44 again this year. So, you know, a lot of that just has to deal more with, I think, the fact that we have so many kids in the program that are very well-rounded kids, and, you know, who doesn't want to hang out with kids that
sure.
way? Great morals, great parental backing behind them, and, of course, a lot of my kids, they're honors kids, so I think of all the coaches here at AHS, I'm probably the most fortunate with what I have in cross-country.
Well, I know you grow closer to each group, and especially when you have some of them from their freshman year on.
Yes, sir, and that's one thing that's going to be hard with this year is, you know, we've done things the old-fashioned way. We've worked to where we're at this point in their career, in their young career, and this is a young group that I had since they were 8th graders in track and 9th graders on up to now with cross-country, and, you know, they've worked their tails off, no natural ability, of course, you know, and but we're in a position to where we have a chance to be pretty successful this year, and right now, perfect example is we're ranked number 4 in 4A, and we've been for the last couple of weeks. But of course, you know, it's early in the season, and rankings they honestly really don't mean too much because it's all about what you're doing at the end of the season. And I know last year we were kind of in the same position, and all it took was 2 of my top 5 kids to get sick right before state, and that was it. They hurt. It takes a big...
That's true. You know, injuries can play, or sickness can play a role in anything, any type of activity that you want to look at.
Yes, sir.
But I also know with numbers comes the ability for you to bring other kids up to fill those voids.
And that's what I like about this year. You know, we have a lot of kids, I have a lot of upper class kids, of course. I got 10 seniors. But at the same time, those 10 seniors, they're doing a lot more than just running for us and representing the program. They're also mentoring, which they do a very good job of. They're also setting the example for these underclass kids as to how you do things, and these kids are having success, and those underclass kids see why they're having success because of the small things they do, the morning runs they're supposed to do on their own when we meet together, and then the intensity they bring to practice day in and day out.
You know, that's the second time today we've heard that word, monitoring and helping younger kids. They do that same thing in the band program, and I'm
Yes,
sure
sir.
they do in all programs here in Artesia.
Yes,
and to be
sir.
successful, you have to do that. You got to have kids that are willing to take that leadership role and willing to pass on the ideas and the thoughts of your program.
You bet, and I think it starts, you know, football, there's a reason they're successful. Coach Henderson does a great job of using his upper class kids to set the tone for the underclass kids, and, you know, he always expects the most from the seniors, and it carries over, I think, to all these other sports, which all of us coaches expect our seniors to kind of embrace that role of being the older brother or the mentor, the person that the young kids want to be like. And so, yeah, and of course, we're in the same position. We want to do the same, too.
Well, Coach, you talked about some early success, and you have had that. You've attended 2 meets so far this year, and your boys have come out on top.
You know, we've had high hopes for ourselves for the last 2 years. We really feel confident with our kids that we have, and simply for one reason, just because of the fact that these kids, Coach, they honestly bring an intensity day in and day out that, it almost makes you feel like, man, it'd have been nice to have a group of kids like that when you were running back in the day, because that's amazing. You can do so much with that. You don't have to have the most talent, but if you got the kids with the best heart, the best work ethic, you can do a lot with that.
Well, tell us about those couple of meets that you've won first place in.
Well, the first meet at Alamogordo, the girls were the ones that came out, and my top 4 girls, they really set a pace that I didn't think they would keep up, and sure enough, at the end of the day, they set the tone for what everybody else did the rest of the day. They got everybody fired up. All the guys got fired up just based on what those girls did, and of course, my back 3 on that varsity group, they ended up running a lot better times than last year. So first of all, that's a great thing. And then, but after that, the JVs came in there, ran. The boys JV won their division, and of course, varsity boys, they're last, and then they come out and they did the same thing. They ran with that same intensity those girls did, and I guess they felt if the girls could do it, heck, why can't we?
Sure.
But at the same time, their goals are that way. They want to be a top 3 team at state this year, and so if you want to be top 3 at state, you better be doing things early on to make you stronger, to make sure at the end of the year you're running your best. And the mentality that they came out with that day was phenomenal. And we had some young kids that stepped up. A newcomer, Eric Austin, did a wonderful job for us, and of course Alex Bradbury, his improvement from last year to this year is tremendous. But my seniors, Chris Worley, Corey Mortson, the way they're running, Corey Mortson's running number 1. Chris Worley was a 6-7 runner last year, where now he's running between 4 and 5. The improvement that these kids have made, Tori Salgado, it's pretty amazing what they've done and how much that's going to help us in the long run, because now we've got 2 kids that are sophomores that are in the same position. They're improving because of those other kids. And so right now we feel like we have a nice chance of doing good things, because now we got 9 runners competing for 7 spots.
Well, that's a good thing to have. When you
Yes,
have
sir.
that competition,
Yes, sir.
it involves everybody, and everybody wants to be on the team that runs in the varsity level. So I know it helps. Well, Coach, I failed to mention the fact that you are the boys and the girls coach.
Yes, sir.
And now, how many girls do you have out?
Oh, with the girls, we got 19 girls, and then the rest of our numbers come from, and I take that back, we got 20 girls. We had a new one come in about 2 weeks ago, so we're at 20 girls and 24 boys.
Well, that's great.
Yes, sir.
And then you traveled up to Roswell and had them come out in that meet.
Hobbs is they're ranked number 5 in the state in 5A, and so we knew Hobbs would be good as far as the boys side, and the girls, they got a top 3 team in the state with their girls team. Very, very solid group. They're senior heavy, kind of like we are. But we knew the competition would be tough just because of them alone, and so sure enough, it was. Our boys ended up winning the race, but we won by 7 points, which 2 runners makes a big difference in how that outcome plays out, and so unfortunately we were able to come out on top. But this coming weekend, it's a different ballgame.
Well, you were telling me before we went on the air, you go to Carlsbad this weekend, and it's kind of a unique situation. You don't run on solid ground.
Nah, you don't, and it's neat how they have it set up, because we'll run across the bridge over the river, we'll run alongside a lot of grass, we'll run on some pavement. They got a trail in the back that goes up and down one of the bigger hills back there by the beach. And so the river, should I say, to be grammatically correct. But anyways, it's really a nice trail, but the level of competition every year at that meet, that's kind of the one that really sets a nice tone for the year.
Well, you tell me the several large 5A schools are going to be at that meet.
Yes, sir.
Even from out of state.
You bet. All the Lubbock 5A schools from Lubbock will be there. And of course, Hobbs, Clovis is going to be there. Clovis, their boys are number 3 in the state, and they got a tough group this year. And so we look forward to that, seeing where we measure up with some of these bigger schools. And of course, we know where we're at with Hobbs, but Clovis coming in, that also makes a big difference in how that race plays out. They're ranked number 6 overall in the state. 4A and 5A get ranked together. Clovis is number 6.
Well, Coach, we do appreciate you coming in and talking to us. You'll be back throughout the year.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be able to check up on you and the program. And we wish you nothing but good luck and continued success throughout the rest of the year.
I appreciate that, Coach.
All right, thanks for being with us here on Coach's Corner. I'm Jim Robin. Be back with us next week at this time. Until then, as always, you be a good sport.